Hello, Steve. My name is Muhammad. I'm a first-year student at Drew University, and I'm planning to major in computer science with a minor in neuroscience.
It's a pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you, too. So, Steve, you're the CEO of Quest Diagnostics, right? What was your education path like, or was it straightforward, or did things change along the way?
Sure. I started off as an engineering student, Muhammad. I studied engineering and thought I wanted to pursue that in my career. And then as I got into engineering, I realized I was more interested in the business side of engineering. And so I actually started my first career in a management development program and then went back to business school. I got an MBA. And I would say also about my education, that was my professional education. But what I learned to do at school is learned how to learn. And I haven't stopped learning since I started my career.
Steve, you said you switched from engineering to business. What would you say to like other students who are also unsure about where they are right now? They planned one thing, but later on they changed their mind. What advice would you give to them?
Yeah, Muhammad, I think it's really important for people to have an idea directionally, but don't try to get too precise of what the outcome might be. What I've shared with people over the years is paint a picture, but don't fill it all in. Get an idea of where you're going, whether it's business or education or into law or into medicine. But to try to figure out all the details at an early stage of your career, I think is premature. You have to get started and find your way.
Hi, Steve. My name is Anum. I am a current student at Rutgers University, and I plan to major in psychology and finance. So going back and looking back from where you are now, what advice would you give to your younger self?
First of all, Anum, pleasure to meet you. And I would say one of the things that intrigues me about your education is just what you said, finance and psychology. And one of the things I think about when I was in school is I wish I took the time to broaden my educational background and learn some non-engineering or non-science and math and business curriculum to really broaden out my background of experience. So I think it's great that you're studying both finance as well as psychology, because I think the broader background of experiences at school is really good for enriching someone's background before they start their career.
I think that's some great advice that others can also use.
Thanks, Anna.
So Steve, looking back on your career, what skills would you accredit your success to?
Well, I think what I'd like to share is what I've shared with my children, who are now, I jokingly say, real adults. They're grown, and one's 37 and one's 34. And I used to talk to them about the three H's, the big H's. And I think it's really important for anyone's career. The first big H is actually humility, making sure you always keep your ego in check and realize that we only do so much to get to where we are, and we need to keep that in perspective. And second is make sure you keep your values and you're always honest. So the second big H is honesty. And the third, I think, is incredibly important. Nobody gets to any place without hard work. So those are the three big H's I share with my children, and I think are really important for all of us, and it's helped me throughout my career.
Thank you so much. That was incredible advice. I'm going to take that as well in my career as well.
Thanks, ma'am.
So for high school volunteers, would you like to share an inspiring message for them who give back to their communities?
Well, I actually volunteered when I was starting my career for junior achievement. I was working in the Boston area, and I volunteered and went into one of the oldest high schools in the country. It was called Boston Latin School. And I actually taught the curriculum for junior achievement at that time, and that's back over 30 years ago. And what I'll share with you is that one is you're getting something back to the students, but in exchange you're learning a lot about the material, but also what's going on with younger people in today's world. So you get as much back as you give.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with that based on my experiences as well.
That's great.
Why are the roles of high school volunteers important?
Well, I think it's important for people that are in high school and also people that are starting their careers as volunteers to realize that role modeling is really important. And I think young students need to see role models I think role modeling is really important for myself as a leader, but equally one of the things I've done throughout my career is look for role models that I could watch and emulate. I've learned a lot from others, and I think this program is all about learning a lot from others.
Completely agree with you.
For students who volunteer in this program, what do you think that they can take away from it?
Yeah, I think what they can take away is the ability for them to engage with the next generation, okay? People that are a little younger than the people that are volunteering, and understanding that the world is changing fast, and therefore the people that are in high school today are probably different than when they were in high school, and so they're going to learn from that. And I think in general, as they progress through their careers, they're going to have to keep on learning about how society and populations are changing in this world, and you have to adapt.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
As you mentioned, you also looked for other role models that you look up to. What were the characteristics you looked in for those role models?
Yeah, so I looked at all different areas when I looked for my role models. One is in business. I looked for people that were successful and trying to understand what they did versus people that probably weren't as successful, and trying to understand what characteristics they had. But secondly, in my personal life, I also think there's role models in your personal life that are quite important. Your parents, your uncles, your aunts, your friends and neighbors in the community, and you can learn from them equally as well. I actually share to my management team, I started as a kid, my first job was to be a caddy at a golf course. Two of my uncles were golf pros, so I caddied in the golf course. And I would learn a lot from the people I caddied for what I would like to emulate, but also equally what I would not like to do by their examples.
I like how you have people that you really want to model off of, but also people who you don't want to model off of, so you know what you should and what you shouldn't do. I like that.
Thank you.
Based on all of your experience and even like going back to volunteering, what's the most important leadership lesson that you think you've learned?
Well, I think there's a lot you're going to learn in school, and that's important. And that'll be in your undergraduate studies or graduate studies if you decide to do that. But there's a lot you don't learn in school. And I think the three things that I've learned throughout my career that are really important, particularly for a field in business, is number one, leadership. It's tough to be taught, and this is where role modeling is very important. Second is how you get things done, how do you manage things. You don't really learn how to get things done in school. And then third is selling. You're always selling. You're selling yourself, you're selling the company, you're selling your products. And so it's really important to learn all three as you progress into your management or your business career.
I think that's definitely brings great value, and everyone can take away a little bit from all of that.
Thank you.
And lastly, Steve, you in particular, how did you reach leadership positions at like CEO or president?
Yeah, so first of all, it goes back to what I said earlier. You have to work hard. You have to work hard, number one. Number two is you have to do the best job you can at any job you're given. And what I found is when you do that, people look for you. You don't have to look for the next opportunity. They're seeking you out because you're already known as someone that does a good job of what you've been asked to do. And third is be patient. Realize that throughout anyone's career, just like in life, there's going to be ups and downs. But what I found when I did have those downs, and there are many downs, that they also provided the biggest opportunity for growth, that eventually I could look back at today and say, I'm glad that happened. So be patient and be persistent as you progress in your life and your career.
Thank you for those wise words, Steve.
Thanks.
Thank you so much for your time
I appreciate
and
it.
all of your insights to our leadership and learning lessons and all of your background.
Thank you very much.
The advice you offered today is priceless, and it's definitely worth applying to people like us, young students in college, or not even in college. This advice doesn't just apply to school or business, but to life as well. So thank you again.
I appreciate what the two of you are doing, and thanks for coming in today.
Thank you.
Thank you.